My son needs a platform bed, and we have this picture from the internet, so I'll make something like this. First, I created a design in SketchUp based on 4 identical modules. Well, almost identical. 2 are mirror images of the others. When you take the mattress off, you can see the 4 modules, and actually they all have the same design, and so I can focus on one at a time. Basically, I'll have to build this 4 times. Now, this is the wood that I'll need to cut out on the table saw. I'll use 16 pieces of Baltic birch plywood, each 19 inches by 48 inches. Every piece of wood I need to cut was assigned a unique letter. I created a visual cut list with all the dimensions. After 2.5 hours at the table saw, I had this pile of scrap and a small cart full of material to take downstairs. I separated the wood into 4 piles so I could take 1 module's worth of material to the shop at a time. Next, I use a process called edge banding to hide the rough edges of the plywood. So you glue veneer onto the edge with heat, and then you trim it with some kind of blade, and then sand a little bit. And when you're done, it looks like solid wood. And there's a picture here you'll be able to see some of the rough plywood and some of the finished plywood. I cleaned up the shop and I got out all my squares and the clamps that I would be using. It's too much to remember, so I created these assembly diagrams to show me how to put things together. Well, let's do some assembly. All of these joints are going to be glued, and so I've got some blue tape there to prevent the squeeze out. And some of the joints are held together with screws, and some others are going to be held together with brad nails, depending on whether or not you can see them from the outside. In this case, these are hidden, so I'm using some screws to create this joint. So these assembly squares help you keep everything square, and you can see some large ones. Here's some small ones used to attach the toe kick to that same piece, which is now clamped onto my bench. And the clamps will hold everything square until the glue can set up. Now I put up some pressure on using my bench vise there. It weighs 50 pounds. Following the assembly diagram, I just kept adding pieces and clamping them on and giving it time to dry. Where I can't use screws from the outside because you can see them, I use a brad nailer. This leaves a very small hole that I end up patching with some wood putty. Here we are half done, and these are unpainted. And here's everything painted and put together with some ponderosa pine trim on the outside. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video about building a platform bed.